Hey everyone, and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. We're back in our Resident Evil project. Now, I know it doesn't look like it, but we are. I've created a couple of rooms. They're all the same room, but they've been named differently. There is a reason for that. And I know what I want to cover today is the level transition for Resident Evil. I explained probably a few videos back, that when you look at the map and it's got the separate rooms, those rooms are actually individual levels. That's how it allowed them back in the sort of late 90s or whenever it was, to sort of do quite high detailed rooms for that era. I know it was still quite blocky, but it was still, there was a lot of detail in each room. And the reason for that is because they break everything down into these levels. So there's two ways you can do this. You can do it with a persistent level, and you run everything through kind of collision boxes, which we're going to do anyway. But what we're going to do is we're going to transition into the room, because that's how Resident Evil used to do it, right? You used to click E on a door, you'd go to black, the door would open in front of you, you'd go through the door, and then you would spawn in the next room. Now, I will probably try and cover the level transition, the actual door animation at some point. But for now, I just want to get us from point A to point B with no issues. Now, I'm going to try and set this all up in a nice manner. Because these are all the same, I need to make sure they are noticeable in some way, so we actually know it's working correctly. Now, for this dining hall, I'm going to just create a very long rectangle shape, so to emulate the dining hall room, you know, with the table. And we know the main hall was here, so we'll probably have a transition here into the hallway there. Okay, and then in the hallway we'll have the piano room, and then we'll have the main hall where we can come into the dining room. That basically sets up the very bare bones sort of structure of the first few rooms of Resident Evil. So we'll try and kind of somewhat emulate the transitioning phases. We also will have to add in the cameras here as well, so I'll probably do all that off screen, to be honest. So let's just do the hallway. So save. So the hallway is going to be this room that's going to go here. So I'm probably going to make this a little bit smaller. So the hallway was a bit like this. We can now reduce that down. I'm not going to worry too much about everything. I just want it to be semi correct. Okay, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, right? So we're going to have this lovely long hallway. Let's reduce these down. There we go, that'll do. Can I do this one a little bit more? I probably should, right? So we're going to have the entrance here, and then the entrance to the piano room here. So let's do that. Now I'll know I don't need to put anything in here to recognize the room because it's a lot thinner. So that should be fine. Let's load up the next one. The main hall. That's not the dining room. Do you know what? I'm going to do a little bit of editing magic. We'll call this main hall 1 and rename this one to dining hall, just so I don't have to mess around redoing anything. Let's open up the actual main hall. Now I will have to rename this back, get rid of that 1 for now. There we go, that's better. Now we want the doorway to be here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in a couple of cylinders just to make it look like a bit of a main hall, right? And you'd have the stairs going up. Let's copy and paste that down a bit more. Okay, there we go. We've got some lovely pillars, and we'll have a doorway there. And we're going to start in the main hall. We're going to have our player start there. And then for the piano room, I'm just going to put a cube in to represent the piano. Right? Let's just do a cube. There is our lovely, lovely piano. And there's a bar, I think, in the piano room as well. So let's stick that in too. Right? Cool. That's great, and it's just so we can know what's what. Right, let's not waste any time because it's going to be a long video anyway. I will do the camera transitions off camera just before we test everything out, but in the meantime let's get all the code stuff done. So we've got our levels. Let's we'll do everything in here, I think. No we won't. Let's go to the third person blueprint. I want to set up a new let's go to all classes. I want a game instance. We want a new one of those. I'm going to call this RE1 game instance, like so. Open that up, and then the only thing we are going to have to do in this, I'm going to bring it over to the screen. The only thing we need to do in here is create a variable, give it the variable name, and call it door underscore ID. That's all we need to do for the game instance, because we want that to run something for us later on. The next thing we want to do is create a game mode, a new game mode. I suppose we could use the third person game mode actually for this. Yeah, I think that should be okay. So the next thing we want to do is we want to start adding in some player spawning areas. So let's go to this one, and we want to get a player start, and we want it to be there. Now I didn't realize how small this level was. We're in the piano room, aren't we? So actually we only want that to be where our level bound kind of entrance is going to be. So let's face him in so that it spawns in the world here. That looks good to me. We can save that one for now, and we want to go in. Let's open up our third person game mode for a second. Open full window editor, that's better. So with this we want to create a new function. We'll call this choose player start. Oh, I didn't save that for some reason. Choose player start. We'll just call it get player start. That's fine. So we're going to get our player start. That's what we want to do. And then to do that, we want to cast to our RE1 game instance. And the object is going to be game instance. Or, should we get game instance? There it is. Like so. We then want to get all actors of class, and that class is going to be our player start, like so. We then want to pull off and get that door ID, and we then want to get a for each loop. Plug that in like so, and then we want to get the player start tag. Now this is going to be very important down the line. What we want to do now is make sure that those are equal. So when you start planning out what your rooms are going to be or your level names are going to be, you need to make sure that they match exactly. Otherwise, it's not going to basically, it's not going to take you anywhere. It's probably going to crash, to be honest. We want to get a reference or get array. No, I'm pulling off the wrong thing. That's why. Sorry, I apologize. Get a copy. That's what we want to do. We can then get a return node, and this can get just plugged into that. We want to copy and paste that return node up here. We want to get a branch, plug that in. And if it's true, we can return here, like so. I think because we've done this one, it's gone through everything, and there's nothing we can basically. It'll come back saying it just won't do anything. If I'm honest, I'm pretty sure that's what will happen. But that's everything set up within the game mode. Beautiful. As I say, there's nothing else in here. It's all just blank for now. Beautiful stuff. The next thing we want to do now is we want to create our actual level transition. So I'm going to create this in the rooms tab or room folder I've made. We can just get an actor and call this level transition, like so. Open this up. Now we are going to want a couple of variables. So we're going to want door ID, which is going to be type name, and what this is going to do is we are going to expose this, and we can type this in ourselves. We also want to know the level name, so that we are loading up the correct level name, like so, and we're going to expose that as well. The only thing we need here is a box collision. Box collision, and we just want to get on event begin overlap and on end overlap. And all we're going to do with this is cast to our third person character. Now, if you just want it to take effect when the player runs into it, just get the on overlap and write the code into that. But I want to do it on the input, so enable input, and we want to disable input. I think the target is probably self, to be honest. Get the player controller, plug that in, easy peasy, compile, and I'm just going to use the E key for this, nice and simple. Find the E key, there it is, and now we just want to do something. Now, most games where you have all your variables like health and things like that, you would run through your save game, which we have covered in a previous tutorial. If you've copied that tutorial, you just want to get your save game and put it at the start here. Obviously, I don't have one, so that's fine. You then want to load your widget in, which again, I haven't got, so I'm not going to load anything in at this point. And then you would add it to the viewport. And then after that, you would want to cast to the RE1 game instance. And again, this would be get game instance, like so. You probably will also want to change up some world settings. I'm just thinking about that, but we'll come to that shortly. We then want to get our door ID. We want to set that door ID, like so. And we're going to set that to our door ID, like that. So what's happening here is We want this game instance, wherever it is, in here. When this runs, we want it to basically run a check from whatever level transition we've walked into and make sure that that player start tag is exactly the same. Then we want to load our level. So open level by name. You can drop this down if you want to. And then we're going to plug that level name inside. So what it's doing, we run this first because we want to make sure this is set so that when this level loads and the game instance opens up and does that code, it basically ensures that we know where we're going to spawn before we've loaded the level up. Because we want to know if this loads up first and then that loads up, it's going to freak out basically. Normally, if you're running a loading screen, I'd run a delay, and then we would remove the parent, and then you would load your game. Okay, you would load your save game. The reason you load it is because every time you load your level up, it will reload all the figures in, right? Or it will just set them to the defaults. So that's why you save it before you load it. Every time you move through into one of these transitions, it just basically saves any heartache and lost values and things like that. So yeah, if you're running a save and load system like the one I created, make sure you are saving and loading your game either side of this transition. It will really help save any issues you'll come across down the line. And that should, in theory, be everything you need to get this working. The next thing I want to do is add in the player starts and the load level systems. So let's do that next. Let's drag out our level transition. That's going to be a small box. Make it the size that you want. Again, normally there would be like a door here that you could go up to and press, but we don't have that. Also, make sure your player start is not sat in that box, otherwise it's going to confuse things. So bring it to here, just so you don't spawn directly inside of that. Then on here, we need to now give it a door ID. So this door ID is going to be piano room. No. So there's an issue with this that makes it a little bit extra confusing. So anything inside. So this player start tag, the player start tag is going to be, so whatever your level name is. So let's call it piano room, but then just add inside, because this is the inside of the piano rooms. So on this door ID, it needs to be outside. So we're going to call this piano room outside, and the level name we're going to be loading in is going to be hallway. So we'll just put in hallway, and that's literally all we need to do. Let's bring this wall in a bit closer. There we go. This is going to be a longer tutorial, so I do apologize in advance. The next thing we want to do now is let's do the hallway next. Save selected. And so if we say our piano room is, oh no, level transition. Let's grab that and do this. And we should be able to test this already. Fingers crossed. Well, we haven't got any camera set up, but that's fine. I think we should still be able to run around and at least spawn into a room. Okay, so then we need a player start. So drag out a new player start. Make sure they are facing the correct way. There is one other thing we need to set up before this actually will work 100%. But we will go through it. So let's do this one now. So the door ID is going to be whatever the player start was called inside. So we want it to be piano room inside. I would just make sure, like maybe write down a list of names of stuff you need so you don't get confused or accidentally mess something up. Piano room outside. See, this is where you got to be very careful. So we know that's going to be matched with piano room inside, and the level we want to load is piano room. This one definitely should be player start name, piano room outside, like so. I just want to make sure that I definitely did call that piano room. That's piano room inside, yeah. Piano room outside. It's fine, I did do it right. Okay, back to the hallway. Now, if I press play, the camera's going to be god awful, so I do apologize. Oh, it's gone into a different room. Let's have a look. Where is it? I might need to. I don't actually know if I'm even in it. It's probably quite small as well, though. Okay, let's do. Now there should be one other thing actually I do need to do in the level blueprints. Where are they? So on event begin play, we probably want to set actor where's it? Set actor transform. Set actor transform, there we go. And we probably, for this we want to get player character, and this will want to be in every level blueprint. So for example, you probably just want to copy and paste blank levels for things like this, but you know, it's down to you guys how you do it, or just make sure you put the code in when you finish a level creation. Get actor transform and plug that in. There we go, compile. Beautiful. And that needs to go in everything. So again, just copy and paste this code. Let's open up the, oh Jesus, what am I doing? I'm opening Visual Studio. Let's open up the piano room. I'm going to get these two rooms working anyway. And get the level blueprints for this one. There we go. And you can copy and paste that one. Right. Second thing I want to do is I want to make sure I can see my transition box so I know where I'm going. I want it to be, where is it? Hidden game? No, I don't want that to be true. Right, we should be able to see this now. Nothing happened. Okay, why is that? Let's have a look. So I think what the problem is I need to change a game instance to RE1. And I need to change game mode, I think. Game mode is going to be that. Great. Let's give it another try. There we go. It's there we go. Right. So yeah. So basically, that's how you set this up, and it brings you to the correct spawn. Now these are the only spawns, but as long as you are setting those name values, you will get the result you're looking for. So for example, if I now go to the levels, go to the area levels, and let's set up the dining hall. Just very quickly, let's load up the dining hall. Let's put a another level transition here. Let's just make it so we can actually go in it. Let's say we want another player start here. We'll call rotate. Now we're gonna have we would normally have ended up with 2 in here, so you can't have 2 dining room insides, so you'd have to think that maybe have like a dining room south or and dining room east, or work it out how it work out how it best suits your levels, of course. Let's go back to the details panel. Let's set this one out for now though as dining room inside. When we click on the level transition though, we want it to be hallway again, but we want the door ID to be dining room outside. Let's then go back into our hallway, save selected, and we get another level transition, and let's expand it out. Now, just so I know I'm in the right place, I'm probably going to put a cube here or something like that next to it, just so I know I'm at the dining room and not the dining room. So I know I'm by the dining room and not the other one. So let's call this. We want this to be dining room inside. I did spell that right, didn't I? And then the player start needs to be dining room outside for the tag. Let's do that. Dining room outside. So when you go into this one, it'll check for dining room outside, and it should spawn us here. I'm just gonna, as I said, just so I know what's going on. Let's put a cone down here, so I know that's the closest point to the dining room. Okay, so it spawned me outside one of the rooms. It spawned me outside the dining room, I believe. So let's head into the dining room. So we need to press E. Errors reported. Invalid. Let's see then. What did we call it? Dining room. And what have I called it here? Is that the same? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to just copy. Let's click rename, copy it that way, and then do that. Dining hall, that's why. Okay, fair enough. That perfectly makes sense to why I didn't do it. So let's go back in. We go into the dining hall. There's the lovely dining hall table. Let's go back out. Now, if we look down, have we got an error? We have got an error. Interesting. Let's go back in here. That's all good. We're in the piano room. Let's go back out, and we are. That's correct, but this one is not. So I've obviously named something wrong. So dining room outside, copy. Let's go back into the dining hall or dining room, whatever. Click on this, sorry, and we want this to be the same. Now that should be the same. And that's dining room inside. We already know that's working at the moment. So let's just spawn in here and see what happens. Are we where we should be? We are. There we go. It's working now. There we go. I obviously misspelt something or whatever, or it wasn't quite exact. So if it's not exact, it will always take you back to the very first player start in the run. So that's what I mean by it's important that you make sure everything is set up correctly. And yeah, and that's how you do it. So we can now freely maneuver around our world and have zero issues. Now, apologies, this has been a long one. It is quite an advanced setup. This would be obviously incredibly effective if we had the door open and the door open and the level transition to go along with it, the actual door opening, and of course all the cameras and things, our usual setup and stuff. It would be incredibly effective. But for now it works, and that's how you do it. It's very complicated, so this is advanced stuff, but once you've got it right and you know how the process works, you'll have no issues setting up all your level transitions from area to area. Now, as I said, this is set up in a sense that it totally destroys the level you've just been in and reloads up a whole new area. However, if you had a persistent level, what you would do is, a lot of games, they have like a buffer area. So like if you have this big long area loaded up, you go in an elevator, the elevator doors will shut. The elevator is not moving, it just makes a sound that it's moving. It totally unloads that level and then reloads up what you need. And a lot of games actually use this method. So yeah, and this is definitely a way you can do that by having, instead of having it actually teleport you to a new player start when you enter the box, you would just unload the last level and reload the new level. So open level, you know, how we did it before, but just don't have it that you go to a player start area. You just remain where you are. But hopefully this has been useful. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Hopefully it's not been too complicated, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.